when the resources are not there on purpose, when the education is not there on purpose, unfortunately, you turn on each other. You're like, man, I love you, but my kids got to eat. And what's in your wallet? I need that. And if you have no educational resources to give them another option, that's all they're going to know. But it's by design. Don't think it's not.
In order to comprehend the themes presented in Omaha hip-hop, one must first understand the situation from which it arose.
A lot of businesses in North Omaha that were prominent businesses on 24th Street burned down because of people in their own community burning their stores down. Okay, I had heard a lot about that, but before that even happened, I heard about the gentleman that got hung downtown.
If you place water over heat and put a lid over the top, the water will eventually boil over. The same can be said of human beings when they are trapped and dehumanized. Anti-black racism has served as an instigative force of heat for centuries. Practices such as redlining and gerrymandering ignited the flame of revolution within North Omaha.
This is a white man's world, period. And it's designed that way.
In 1968, presidential candidate George Wallace came to give a speech in Omaha. As a white supremacist, Wallace symbolized all centuries of violence and oppression, and the people of North Omaha responded by protesting, which in turn led to riots that left much of the economic infrastructure in shambles.
We are extremely disturbed by these continued disturbances that we are simply not going to tolerate lawlessness.
The following year, a white police officer shot 14-year-old Vivian Strong in the back when she ran from him after he approached her and her friends while they listened to records in an abandoned apartment.
All these prominent businesses moved out west because of the situation in North Omaha.
But from the ashes of this destruction, an innovative and subversive art form was conceived that would challenge people's perception of race, class, and the definition of art itself. Where many people were silenced due to the color of their skin, hip-hop became the voice of the voiceless. While most commonly associated with large cities such as New York, Los Angeles, and Houston, hip-hop scenes played out in mid-sized cities across the nation as well.
We're in the middle of the country. We're in Omaha, Nebraska. So we're trying to seek out stuff that's coming from, we don't know where it's coming from. We just know it's not coming from where we're at, so we're trying to seek it out.
So eventually we find out where.
So eventually we find out, and then here comes the movies in '83 that we saw, Flashdance, and in 1984 came Beat Street. So then when Beat Street came out, that's when we were able to see the whole culture, in a nutshell, in one film.
And where did that culture come from?
And it came from New York.
DJs, MCs, graffiti writers, and breakdancers gave black youth a way to release tension through competition and shared experiences. Before long, this new art form spread across the nation, and the people of North Omaha picked up on it quickly.
Then right afterwards, in late '84, Breaking came out. Then '85, Breaking 2 came out. Then Crush grew. So we started seeing it all on the big screen, all elements, the b-boying, the art, which is the graffiti, the DJing, and the MCs rapping, so we started seeing it all. So now we're imitating what we're seeing, and we want to do it. And that's how we started becoming creative.
They used this creativity to pioneer Omaha's hip-hop industry, with DJ Rip joining Omaha's first major rap group, the Young Rebels.
So the Young Rebels started as a b-boy crew. They were called the 4th Street Breakers off of 4th Street and 27th. Lanier, which is Bear, and Forrest created the group. and that's where the Young Rebels came about. And then I came a little later in '87.
It was my older brother and our best friend Bear. They decided on the name.
The Young Rebels then traveled to New York in search of a record deal.
Went into Manhattan, go on the record label, blah, blah, blah. Some people we got to talk to, some people they kicked us out. But that's what we was doing all day. And they'd be like, yo, we up in Nebraska. First they laugh, like, Nebraska, what's Nebraska? What? And then at that time, Wild Kingdom was on television. So what do y'all got, giraffes and lions? And you know, and I'm like taking offense to that. I'm like, have you ever read a map?
Jam Master Jay wanted to sign the group shortly, and then he wanted to sign one of the group members as a solo deal, and we opt not to do it, which we probably should have rethought that, but we opt not to do it. So, you know, we did have an opportunity as Young Rebels in the late 80s for a major record deal, and that would have been, you know, through Jam Master Jay and Russell Simmons and that whole, you know, Def Jam conglomerate.
For the group, it gave us a reality check, like we were good, but we wasn't good enough.
Despite returning from New York without a major record deal, the Young Rebels helped ignite the Omaha hip-hop scene. Soon, various artists began performing around the city.
A lot of talent shows, like at high schools and stuff. I don't know if you guys still have that, but like that was like the showcases for up-and-coming artists, like the talent shows they used to have at the tech building, Tech High. There was a lot of shows there. The Ranch Bowl. Yeah, the Ranch Bowl. It used to be by Walmart, where Walmart is on 72nd. It was a bowling alley, but it had like a performance venue on it too. A lot of shows there. But that whole block where the House Saloon was a club called Planet Soul. That was like the main club for anybody young. Hip hop in the early years was weird. It's kind of like an apprenticeship. Like you couldn't just come and do it. Like they would just be like, no, you're not allowed. Like you had to come up under somebody that was already out. I would go out of my way to change my voice because I didn't want to sound like this person, even if it's natural to me.
House parties were also a major part of the Omaha scene.
Somebody had it in the basement, somebody just moved in, there's no furniture in it yet, things like that. The only lighting was a red light, that's all you need, a red or a blue light. The DJ came in with more speakers than he really needed for a house and, you know, cranked it as loud as possible.
Put your hands up, put them up, put them up, put them up, put them up.
And then as time progressed, and then the gangs came to Omaha when we started doing house parties, then it started getting a little dangerous. It really was once the visual was put through the words gangs, Crips, and Bloods. And the movie that did that was Colors for Omaha. Now then, there were people in Omaha already that were gang affiliated from Los Angeles before the movie Colors that were already trying to plant their seeds and put their gangs in Omaha. But most people ignored it. Our city officials ignored it. I mean, they actually went on TV, oh, we don't have a gang problem. It's not that, it's Omaha. But then by the time they wanted to get a hold to it, it was too late.
The rise of gang life in Omaha and elsewhere led to so-called gangster rap, which was often looked down upon by society at large, as well as some in the hip-hop community itself.
Gangster rap and hip-hop it's the same thing. It's all hip-hop. It's just labels and boxes that they use to try to divide it, but it's really, and for the most part it works because we start to buy into those labels and we separate ourselves.
Gangster rap or reality rap, it is just what it is. It's reality. It's kids from inner cities just telling you what they're living every day.
Although the people of North Omaha had embraced hip-hop culture, the rest of the city was skeptical. A journalist by the name of Josie Loza was the first Omaha World Herald staff writer to highlight hip-hop culture from a sympathetic angle.
It was almost every week in the entertainment section she would do something related to what was going on.
In 1997, there was a story that was printed in the Omaha World Herald. And it was really the dumbing down of what hip hop was. They got everything wrong. Everything was wrong. And it was lack of knowledge. And those who were true hip hop heads would read this piece and say, what are you talking about, you know? That was, I think, the moment in 1997 that I wanted to make sure I got it right.
Despite these efforts, the culture was often stereotyped and misinterpreted by those outside it.
Because when people think gangster rap, they equate it to gang members. But gangster rap, I don't know who came up with it. And you know it wasn't us. We're not going to call our music gangster rap.
See, people who can't relate, they look at it as a glorification of a lifestyle, negativity.
It's all stories. It's all about he looked out his window in his environment and he told the story. Like we're in 2017 and people are like, oh my God, police are beating and killing black men. Didn't Ice Cube just released the 25th anniversary of the death certificate?
If people didn't think that the real reality of people's living wasn't going to come out in the music, they were mistaken. They didn't understand what hip hop was to begin with. Hip hop was created from the ghetto, something from nothing.
Fast forward to now, you have people who are trying to imitate that reality. They're trying to imitate that reality.
They were trying to say, we want out of here.
Yeah, we want out of this lifestyle.
This is how we live, and this is real.
And you have kids now who are wanting to be a part of that lifestyle, even though you have a great lifestyle now. That's backwards.
A kid that's just doing hip hop now, he's new to all this is brand new to him. He might not necessarily know the history of it, so he's just doing what comes out of his brain. So I can't condemn that. I like a lot of the new stuff.
Followers don't make fans. Because if that's the case, you have 100,000 people that follow you and you can't put 20 people in the club? My group did it. The Young Rebels, we did it. Like, we dead serious. Like, followers, people coming, paying the clubs, doing whatever you want, and spending their money to do it. So the rappers today, it's cool, I mess with them and all that, but don't talk to me about you got fans. I know what fans are.
Omaha hip-hop is still finding its identity and place within the national scene. And despite having many talented artists over the decades, the impact these artists have made on the rest of the world remains limited.
People aren't coming here looking for talent from Omaha, Nebraska. There's been a million artists, I believe, that should have had opportunities and were good enough, just as good as any national artist, out there that you've ever heard or loved. I just think that we don't have the opportunities that the big cities do because
where we're
geographically located. That's the answer.
Two things. Estadine, come mess with us. Okay, bring some of that talent back to Omaha. And 311, stop saying you're from LA.
A slew of artists keeps the hip-hop scene alive in the city, many of whom continue to hold great ambitions and dreams of nationwide exposure.
I plan on changing the way for Omaha music and artists. With the vision and the positivity that I bring to the table, I really feel like that could change the outcome of a lot of these artists' careers.
Northside, Omaha, Nebraska, where they shooting at. Trying to show my younger brothers, y'all don't need to move the strap. Ever stop to ask the little homies why he doing that? Cause where we from, it ain't really an option if you young and black.
My purpose is to spread a message to the children directly affected. Before the world affects you, I want to affect you. I want to positively put something in you that make you decide to do something positive. And before the world make you decide to do something negative.
According to the 2016 report of the Empowerment Network State of North Omaha, roughly 5% of white residents of Omaha live in poverty, compared to about 27% of black residents. The same report indicates similar racial gaps in employment, healthcare, education, housing, transportation, law enforcement, hourly wages, and other critical areas of life. This is the ongoing legacy of discriminatory public policy and structural racism. Through all of this, a few things are certain. Hip-hop continues to give a voice to much of society that has been denied of one, and it will continue to shape our world.
I made it through, made it through, made it through. And everything I gave to you, I gave to you, I gave to you. You got it, you got it, you got it, it's coming. So are you ready?
Are you ready? 3,
The Omaha Economic Development Corporation, helping bring a fresh market, a cafe, and new local businesses just south of 24th and Lake. An opportunity to impact the surrounding community.
I see it as a couple of things. One, revitalizing an area, giving new hope to the community, and providing an economic engine that I think even the city is going to benefit from.
So I think this has a great opportunity to jumpstart some businesses and get some other businesses going and really have a great impact.
Hip hop was our outlet, you know, again, as it is a lot of kids from the inner city that came out, you know, that are our age. Hip hop was the way out. It was the new thing. It was our expression.
Before they knocked down the Civic Auditorium, what they just did, we used to perform inside the music hall. The music hall holds 2,200 people. My group sold it out twice. We sold it out on a Friday. Ice Cube came the next Friday and did not sell it out. When T.I. came to Omaha and had the #1 movie, which was ATL, and the #1 album at the same time, he didn't even sell it out.
A crew called the 4th Street Breakers.
For the record, on camera, I don't like Mr. So. There you go.